Isang buwan matapos po ang naging pananalasa ng bagyong Odette, muli natin kumustahin ang lagay ng sektor ng agrikultura sa Pilipinas at ang ambag din ito sa economic growth ng ating bansa. Makakausap po natin si Agriculture Secretary William Dar. Magandang umaga po, Secretary. Welcome back po sa Laging Handa.
Magandang umaga po naman, Yusek Rocky, at sa lahat po na viewers ng Laging Handa. Good morning.
Opo, Secretary, kumusta na po ang pamamahagi ng assistance ng Department of Agriculture sa mga magsasaka at kooperatibang naapektuhan po ng bagyong Odette?
Opo, ang premise po natin dyan, talagang very significant yung damage sa agrikultura as a result of Typhoon Odette. Let me give you the data. Ang number one na apektado po ay ang fisheries sector, 3.97 billion pesos. Ang pangalawa yung rice subsector, 2.56 billion pesos. Pangatlo po yung coconut industry, ay 1.62 billion pesos. Pangapat ay ang high value crops, 1.5 billion pesos. At ang panglima, yung sugarcane crops, at 1.15 billion pesos, and others kagaya ng infrastructure, corn, livestock ay nasa 2.46 billion pesos. So now the question is, what are we doing? We are, for these last 2 weeks now of January, mayroon tayong nilaan na almost 3 billion pesos na DA interventions. Ito na yun pinapamudmud, binibigay sa ating mga apektado ng mga farmers at fisherfolk in the various regions. Alam niyo, habang dito dumaan sa almost 10 regions ang sa apektado ng agrikultura. But let me mention, ang pinaka-apektado na region na Yusek Rocky ay ang Region 6, followed by Region 8, Region 7, so these are mostly Visayas. Then the Region Caraga, 13, and Mimaropa, that's 4B. And the rest would be Region 10 and Region 9, 11. So, ganon. Ano po ba yung mga binibigay po natin ngayon na interventions? Number one, mayroon kaming minobilize na 1 billion peso na quick response fund for the rehabilitation of the affected areas. So, ito ikumpara mo dun sa damages ay hindi sapat. So, that's just a good start. Now, on top of this 1 billion, Yusek Rocky, mayroon tayong ready, palagi yan, at these are certified rice seeds, certified corn seeds, and assorted vegetable seeds worth 500 million. So strategically distributed in those affected regions or provinces as a result of Typhoon Odette. Then, mayroon din mga seed nuts, seedlings and fertilizers from PCA, 40.2 million pesos. From BIFAR, ang interventions ng BIFAR ay maabot na ng 35 million pesos. Dadagdagan pa nila yan. Mayroon din mga additional stocks, drugs, and biologics for livestock and poultry, 6.6 million pesos. At isa pa yung mayroon inilaan ang Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation para dun sa indemnification for insured farmers and fishers, 828 million pesos. And dun sa ACPC, mayroon din nilaan na Sure Calamity Loan Assistance Program. So ang suma total, 3 billion pesos is being distributed now in many kinds of interventions. And on top of that, Yusek Rocky, gusto ko rin banggitin na we are in the last month of distributing itong 2021 RCEP Rice Farmers Financial Assistance. And as of today, we are almost halfway out of the 7.5 billion pesos that we are distributing to almost 1.5 million farmers all over the country. So kung titignan mo, 3 billion plus the RFFA na tuloy-tuloy, another 3 billion this January, 3.5 billion this January, ay mataas-taas na po yung tulong na galing po sa kagawaran ng agrikultura. Yusek Rocky.
Opo. Secretary, pero kumusta po ang lagay ng food security sa ating bansa? Ganitong taon-taon po ay halos ay nakakaranas tayo ng ganitong kalalakas na bagyo. Isabay pa po yung nagpapatuloy na pandemya.
Okay, magandang po katanungan yan kasi alam niyo dumating ang Typhoon Odette almost middle of December. So, ang ganda sana yung performance ng agrikultura. Kasi nakikita po natin na kahit maliit yung pagangat sana, ay at least we are nearing the positive growth trajectory. Now, in terms of inventory natin sa iba't ibang commodities, sa bigas po, by the end of 2021, mayroon tayo good for 115 days. So sapat na sapat po yung ating inventaryo sa bigas at alam naman ninyo na tuloy-tuloy yung rice production. Now, another thing to mention, Yusek Rocky, na because of this very sustained introduction of modern technologies or innovations at saka capacity building ng ating mga rice farmers, we will still have a new record harvest in rice in 2021, surpassing the record high in 2020. No, let me repeat. Excuse me. In rice production, in spite of Typhoon Odette, in 2021, that's last year, we will get a new record harvest surpassing 2020 record harvest of 19.4 million metric tons. So we are seeing a breadth of 20 million metric tons. This will now be a new record harvest in rice production in the country. Kung sana wala lang itong African swine fever, ay ang ganda sana yung paglaguna ng sektor ng agrikultura. So very impressive yung growth ng rice. So we have enough rice. Now, for poultry, we are more than sufficient. Yung sa going back to pork, so mayroon tayong kombinasyon ng supply ng local producers at saka yung frozen pork. So we have more than enough inventory this quarter, and I will discuss later on ano yung strategies pa natin to sustain itong pork inventory natin this year. Now sa fisheries naman, we have a close fishing season. So more or less mayroon kang tightness in the supply of fish this quarter, but we are enhancing our aquaculture subsector to come forward our other sectors of the fisheries, so that at the end of the day, we will elevate our fish cuts. At the same time, kung ano po yung pagkukulang, ay pupunuan po natin. Again, this is a balancing act being done by the department to ensure food security in the whole country. So sumatotal po, in spite of all of these challenges and other concerns, Yusek Rocky, the Philippines this time around, with all a combination of enhancing local production and supply augmentation from other countries, ay sapat po ang pagkain ng ating bansa.
Opo. Secretary, ano daw po ang reaksyon ninyo dito po sa recent statement ni Representative Joey Salceda na dapat daw pong mas tutukan pa ang agricultural growth and investment ngayong taon, lalo na daw po yung food prices?
Alam niyo, we have a good champion for agriculture in the person of Congressman Joey Salceda. I like his way of thinking. Laman lang, okay, the budget for agriculture this year ay hindi po lumago, hindi po tumaas from 90 billion or 91 billion na nandun sa NEP, yung National Expenditure Program na ibinigay ng DBM, ay at the end of the day, ay ang binigay lang ng Kongreso, both houses, House of Representatives and the Senate, we only have about just more than 85 billion pesos. So sana nga madagdagan pa ang suporta ng ating gobyerno dito sa paglago ng agrikultura. I believe in all respect yung sinasabi natin na being an agricultural country, this is one sector that is underinvested, underfunded. And the case of rice is a showcase to mention with proper budgetary support sa rice production ay ang taas po yung outcomes. And I hope that will happen for the other commodities. The other commodities, we are not getting so much. So yun po ang katotohanan. We are just telling exactly what we now have received for the 2022 budget support for the Department of Agriculture. We could be better if there is a higher budgetary support from government and plus the investments coming from the private sector.
Opo. Secretary, may tanong lang po yung ating kasamahan sa media. May tanong po sa inyo si April Rafales ng ABS-CBN News. Ano daw po ang dahilan ng tumataas sa presyo ng local at imported na galunggong? At ano daw po yung update sa imported galunggong? Gaano karami po ang dumating at darating pa? Hindi po kaya ito nakakatulong para mapababa pa ang presyo?
Mayroon po tayong tinitingnan na mga strategies para mapabilis po natin itong paglabas ng mga imported na galunggong galing sa mga cold storages. Ganun po ang problema natin. Halos nandun sa cold storage at hindi masyado nakakarating sa merkado. So I have directed the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources with the PFDA to see to it that, this imported galunggong must reach the wet markets as is the case, because that's the very reason why we are bringing additional supply augmentation. So the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources has the power to open up these cold warehouses and see to it that these have to be brought to the wet markets.
Opo. Tanong naman po ni Sheila Francisco ng TV5, ano na po ang update sa pag-convene ng NFRC to discuss additional fish imports po sa bansa?
Okay po, nag-convene na po ang NFarmC itong last week. And they have given their own thinking. And let me announce before all of you that, we considered about 6 reasons why we are deciding for a new certificate for the need to import small pelagic fish for this quarter of 2022. And PARMC said we have more than enough supply. Maybe that's their thinking. But accordingly, based from the data of the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, we have the potential deficit this quarter of about 119,000 metric tons. So that's one to consider. Number two to consider, that there is Typhoon Odette. So we cannot just say that the fishing sector continues to be normal. They are the number one in the subsector of agriculture, badly hit during the Typhoon Odette. So the capacity of our fishers to catch will be in question. You have to enhance their capacities. Number three, you continue to see inflation, high prices in most of the market for fish. Pangalawa yan sa support na nagbibigay ng higher contributions sa food inflation. So pangapat, there are these logistics problems, of course, that we need to properly manage. At ako, by the end of the day, being the Secretary of Agriculture, having considered everything, NFarmC is a body that has the recommendatory responsibility. So let me use that word, recommendatory responsibility. But at the end of the day, we take we take responsibility in terms of the ensuring food security, in this case, fish supply of small pelagic fishes. So I just signed yesterday a certificate of the need to import for this first quarter the amount of 60,000 metric tons of small pelagic fishes to be imported for this quarter of the year.
Okay. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsama sa amin ngayong umaga. Department of Agriculture Secretary William Dar, mabuhay po kayo at stay safe, Secretary Dar.
Maraming salamat po, Yusek Rocky. Again, I think with all the efforts of our farmers, fishers, agribusiness people, and the support of government, we continue to give hope and inspiration to them so that they elevate their game using modern technologies, and we are there always to help them grow and develop. Aahon din ang sektor ng agrikultura, aahon din ang ating ekonomiya. Maraming salamat po.